Hi, our team name is No Fear, and we operate in the Delta industry in the Mark Strat simulation. We competed in the arena of electronics products and had several different brands within the Sonites market and one brand within the Vodite market. Our products range in characteristics from high-end to low-end. Our brands in the Sonite market consist of Noon, Nova, Nook, and Noah, which were targeted to consumers in the high earners, shoppers, savers, and professional segments. Neon was our brand in the Vodite market and was only marketed for one period. This product was targeted toward the innovators. Next slide.
Our company had solid performance in past 8 periods. We increased our sales by 200% and our profits went up by 700%. We delivered consistent performance and grew our profits and revenues in 6 out of 8 periods, and we were number one company in Sonite's market in 4 out of 8 periods. Next slide, please. Our high success was in high earner market segment, which we dominated in most of 8 periods, except the drop in period 5, which was due to unsuccessful product improvement attempt. Situation was corrected in period 6, and we were back on the top. We had solid performance in shopper market with our Noon product, especially in early periods. Later, our market share started to erode due to strong competition from several other companies. We made strong attempt to enter savers segment in period 3. However, later market segment preferences shifted and we were not able to catch up and our market share went down significantly. We didn't pay attention to explore and professional market segments most of the time, and our late attempts to enter this market were not successful. Next slide, please. Among our brands, our No product for high earner market was the most consistent and successful performer. Noon brand had solid market share in shopper segment early on, which decreased significantly in later periods due to competition. Nook product had strong debut for saver segment, but couldn't hold on. Still, Nook product delivered solid overall profits. Least successful product was No, which failed to capture professional and explore market segments. Our attempt to enter Vodite market with Neon brand was stopped due to lack of profit prospects. Product was too expensive to make. Next slide.
We saw a 10% increase in our brand awareness of high earners for our Nova product, and we ended up depleting our production in period 1. We realigned our sales force with the ideal shopping habits of high earners and decreased our price by $10 to $5.29, as this was the ideal pricing point for the high earner shoppers. Additionally, in period 1, we increased production by 25% for Noon due to a projected 23% growth in the shoppers market. We had a 71% brand awareness in the market at that time. Additionally, to ensure we captured that growth for Noon, we realigned our sales force. We had an incorrect allocation of sales force across distribution channels, and this created a lack of adequate salespeople in the specialty stores and in excess in online stores. We corrected the problem by reducing the number of sales associates focused on online and instead geared them towards specialty stores. Due to a lack of competition in the savers market, we decided to start a $1 million R&D project to create a Sonite product that could target the savers' expected market growth. Next slide. Out of our R&D project from period 1, we launched a newly designed Nook product and targeted it 100% towards savers. We put together a commercial team of 30 people and allocated them across 3 distribution channels based off shopper habits of savers. Our initial price point was set at $199 due to our low cost production and attempt to undercut our producers in this segment. For Nova, we are going to add 2 members to our commercial team to ensure we continually meet demand and push a product that is selling well. Additionally, we are adding more to our sales force. We increased production by 10% to ensure that we did not sell out of the product and stay in line with the segment's expected growth. Nova and Noon brands had gained significant market share and brand recognition in the Sonite market. To ensure that the brands continue to gain market share from competition, we decided to improve two physical features from our marketing studies, from which we identified during our marketing sessions. Most important to consumers, cost and power. Additionally, power characteristics for Nova were inferior to our closest competitor, Solo. Next slide, please. Nova was the top-selling product in the high earner segment and was among the leader in retail sales for the entire Sonite market, with $89 million in revenue. We changed our segmentation strategy by increasing the percentage of our advertising budget to high earners from professionals. Historically, we had a 75-25 split, but since it was clear that the product was targeting directly towards high earners, we decided to change that split to 85-15. We lost almost 20% market share in the shopper segment over the last two periods under our Noon brand. This was due to an increase in competition in the market as well as an expansion in the size of the market. We maintained units sold, although we were unable to capitalize on growth of new consumers. Our new top competitor, LO Elite, was able to gain substantial market share growth in this market since entering 2 periods ago. They now capture more market share than us in the segment by 1%. Going forward, we are going to increase production by 20% and add an additional 2 people to our commercial team. We still have very strong brand recognition, even though we have lost market share over the last 2 periods. With our revised brand attributes launched in period 4, we believe that we can still be competitive in this market. We're going to push the sales force to capitalize on the strong brand awareness we have in the shopper segment. We also increased our advertising budget to $2.8 million, as we feel that we want consumers to understand the new modified brand we launched. We had a solid period 3 for our Noon product, where we were able to capture 20% of the Savers market. This market showed strong competition, so we were happy with that percentage. We decided to keep our price, distribution, production consistent in period 4, as we're pulling in around $20 million of revenue. Next slide.
So for periods 5 and 6, starting with the Nova, we began to move away from trying to sell to the professional segment and focus more on selling to the high earners, as Nova had been up to this point dominating the high earner segment. As a result, we decided to try and improve the Nova, and we changed the brand attributes. This ended up not being a very good decision, and we subsequently lost a lot of market share because of the changes we made. Our customers didn't react favorably to the changes we made. Therefore, we decided to revert back to the attributes we had previously, and when the Nova was the #1 product, as to try and gain our old customers back. For the Noon, it is in the very competitive shopper segment. Therefore, we decided to add members to the commercial team in both periods 5 and 6, and we made our advertising budget greater as well in period 5 to inform consumers about the new attributes of the product. We also increased the production to keep in line with the market growth, and the shopper segment was a growing market, so we wanted to keep up with that. For the Nook, our goal was to sell to the savers. Therefore, we kept the price below $200 to entice them, and we kept the production on pace to keep up with market demand. However, this was the time that we were thinking about trying to develop a new product to put out in period 7. And finally, the Neon was introduced in period 6 to compete in the Vodite market. The Neon initially did pretty well. It was only one of 2 products, but it had the majority of the market share. However, the margins weren't as good on them, and therefore it ultimately led to the decision to retire it in the next period. On to the next slide, please.
Decisions, period 7 and 8. Nova, we decided to focus 100% of our segmentation strategy on high earners and no longer try to target the crowd of professional segment. We also dropped our recommended retail price to $4.99, which was more in line with what appealed to the segment according to market research. After period 7, we dropped the recommended retail price another $10 to $4.89 to hopefully continue our growth in market share. We set production levels according to market forecast reports and anticipated market share, which proved to be successful because we weren't left with more than 1,000 units after either period. Noon, we came off 3 straight periods of solid market share and revenues, so we chose to keep the price the same and continue to target the shopper segment. We noticed our market share dropped slightly in period 6, but we also sold our entire inventory. Because of this, we raised our production over what was expected in market growth to increase our sales. There's no inventory left after period 7, so we left our production levels the same for period 8. Nook, we started an R&D project in period 5 based on market research on what would most appeal to the saver segment. We anticipated on gaining at least 15% of the market share of the expected market because we had similar brand attributes and a lower price than our competitor Romp. We also added 16 people to our commercial team, so our new product had adequate availability. After period 7, we unfortunately sold 20% of what we produced, so we were forced to lower our recommended retail price from $1.99 to $1.82 in an attempt to sell off our remaining inventory in period 8. Noah, we decided to remove our Vodite Neon from the market because of its high base cost and lack of profitability. We decided to relaunch our R&D project that we had originally debuted in period 5 at Nova because it had a much larger profit margin. In period 7, we targeted the professionals market in an attempt to tap into that profitable segment while taking some business away from our competitors. We set our advertising budget at $2 million and our commercial team at $20 million. Unfortunately, these decisions did not play out as anticipated, as we only achieved 13% of brand awareness in our target segment and only sold 12% of what we produced. In period 8, we attempted to sell off our remaining inventory by dropping the price and targeting the Explorer segment, which had no clear-cut market leader like the other segments. Next slide, please.
Our team had several keys which made us successful, especially during the early rounds. Number 1, brand awareness. We were constantly conscious of our brand awareness within our target market. During our most successful periods, we typically had substantially high brand awareness. In conjunction with our brand awareness, the allocation of our advertising budget was in line with our targeted consumer. This was considered critical by the team in order to maximize our return on advertising money spent. Market research studies were another critical component to our success and were purchased during every period. These studies provide important information regarding our competition, along with providing trends which allowed us to react to changes in the marketplace and adjust our strategy from period to period. The data within these reports essentially drove many of our decisions moving forward. The final key was production planning. During several periods, our planned production allowed us to have enough product to meet our consumers' demands, but not have substantial inventory holding costs. This type of ideal production planning was consistently seen in our most successful periods. Next slide. During the course of the simulation, several lessons learned were identified by our team. Our first lesson learned occurred after the release of our Vodite brand Neon. During the review of our period 6 results, we determined several issues with our new Vodite brand. We'd spent $10 million on R&D for this new brand. However, based on our financial data, it was clear that we would not be able to recuperate our initial R&D investment on this brand, given the profit margin on this product and the amount of periods remaining. It was determined by the team that the initial R&D investment on the Vodite so late in the simulation was not a smart move, and that in the end, due to the relatively minimal profit margin, this brand cost us money. If the team had this decision to do differently, we would not have spent the money on R&D and would not have released a Vodite brand. Instead, we would have saved the substantial upfront R&D costs. The team realized the importance of advertising and brand awareness, especially with regards to new products. As a team, we learned that during the release of our products, it was critical to ensure substantial allocation of budget to advertising because the consumer must be aware of the product before they will purchase it. Advertising leads to interest, which leads to desire followed by action. Thank you for your attention.